Hello, and on behalf of Power Street Theater, welcome to Power Talks. My name is Allison Cadena, and I will be your host as we celebrate Women's History Month by spotlighting some incredible female identifying artists. So I'm really excited for today's episode because we got to catch up a little bit before this recording, and I just know we're going to have a great conversation. Please welcome Zeitlin Perez.
Yay! Yay! Thank you so much for the invite. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what comes out of this amazing interview.
Yes, yes. I actually, I do my research before we do these interviews, and I was like, oh, she does everything. But then before we started recording, we were kind of like getting to know each other, and I'm like, oh, I thought she did everything. She does everything, everything.
It's kind of hard to unlayer, but we do it. So I'm super happy.
Yes, yes. But before, for the people who may not be familiar with what you do, I want to just give a little bit of an intro. Who it may not do you full justice, but for those that are interested, we will hear more. So, Zeitlin is a multifaceted artist and entrepreneur. She's an incredible vocalist herself and a performer who tours. And she's also the host of the Sister Sister podcast, which is an infotainment podcast where she chats about the empowerment of women in business, community, music, health, and more. On top of that, she is also on the back end, an event producer, a creative strategist and consultant for brands and other creators. She's also in artist management and representation. She represents Afro Dominicano. If you guys have heard about them, I got to see them at United Palace, and they were absolutely incredible. Brought down the house, and come to find out that actually Zeitlin produced that event called Bachateria, which is just, it honors Dominican culture, Dominican music. And on top of that, she also is a restaurant owner. She owns Grano de Cafe in Corona, Queens. You said there's another location coming soon. Where?
In Dykeman, in the Washington Heights area, Inwood area.
Love that. So keep an eye out for that. I'm Queens based as well, so I was like, "Ooh, I gotta go right after this interview."
I got you, girl.
Yes, check you guys out. But I mean, I just have so many questions, so many things I want to talk to you about. For me, this is very exciting. You were talking to our producer Jose a little bit before this about like there are a lot of people who keep show business running on the back end and like really giving you guys your flowers for opening up those spaces for us and creating those opportunities for us artists. So I wanted to start with that. I think for a lot of artists, the business side is either difficult or scary, or there's just some apprehension. Like a lot of us really want to stick to the fun part, which is like the creating of the music, the performing of the music. um, and I wanted to ask your take on like why is it so important for us to kind of either familiarize ourselves or get that business kind of support, but then also any like basic advice you can give us as it relates to the business side.
Absolutely. And to your point, not only in business, but all across the board, is a scary when you're trying to be your own business and an entrepreneur. It's scary, it's hard, it's everything. So, but specifically in the music industry, especially if you are a talent, a lot of us tend to really just stick to the creativity part, which it's valid on its own, because you are focused and you're pouring into your music or your project. So that alone takes a lot of your energy. And, but we are also kind of trying to amplify and share this project or share this music to the masses. And in order to do so, you have to be very familiar on how to reach out to these folks. Throughout the music industry, we also have something like the internet, like this, social media platforms. Those are great tools. And the music industry, as we speak, is evolving because of these platforms and because of these outlets. But in addition to that, we also have to be very mindful that, not only to create what you do, but everything requires some investments, either whether it's blood, sweat, and tears, or actual financial investments in it. So you have to be very conscious that you have to be a good administrator, understanding that you need a certain amount of money to record this, to master, to mix, to this, to that, to that, to that. But then outside of that, once that product is done, you also have to work with other people or other brands, to say, hey, we have this amazing project, is resonating, this is the new sound, this is the new this. And you have to kind of position yourself to sell this to a brand. So you have to have the language, you have to have the understanding, and also have an assessment of what you can offer and what you want these brands to give to you. So it is scary. And sometimes a lot of folks right now in the market don't even know that they have the ability to advocate for themselves and to kind of like put a reasonable number to what you're offering. So it is very scary, but it is very important. Even if you have to start on your own, so you have to be aware that these things you need to have at least the basic knowledge, correct? And then as you start growing, then you kind of implement people in your team that that's their skill set or that's their expertise. But you also know, you also are responsible to understand that they're doing their job and they're doing it effectively and efficiently. So you always have to have the knowledge of what other people that you're going to be delegating your baby, because that's what it is. Any type of business that is yours is your baby. So you want to make sure that they're taking care of your baby.
Yeah, and I think also for artists, sometimes we feel like we're giving up like some ownership, and when we start doing the business side, like it's gonna like somehow affect the way we create or something. And I think it's so funny because what I've been learning is like the more I lean into the business end of it and like creating partnerships and getting, those people who can help me on that side, it actually facilitates the creation because
Absolutely.
now you've got a sponsor to create it, or now you have somebody who's really skilled with like negotiation or with like the production, the technical side, and it just
Absolutely.
makes it easier.
So, and you know what? Some of us possess certain skill sets, but it doesn't really cover the overarching of all the elements that you need to get to that point. So you have to be super aware of what you can do or what you cannot do. But I don't want us to never, at least the clients that I work with, that I'm consulting it, I was like, okay, yes, we're working together, but this is a partnership. This is a collaboration. I'm not here to take over and then you just sit back and relax. I want you to be involved. I want you to understand what I'm doing so that if we continue and we grow and we go to mainstream, that's always the goal. That either if we continue this relationship, then we continue to grow together, or if things pass and maybe we're no longer working together, at least I felt good. That's my personal views on how I want to be impactful to the people that I represent, is that you have the tools now to go on and go to your next step if we're not part of it any longer. So that's a distinction of me and how I've been able to create this job, or that I literally created my job. And so I'm letting them know, I was like, you need to know this and this is why I'm doing it. And I want transparency. I want you to know what's happening every step of the way. You need to be involved. And I think that that's what I want to instill in every client, is like, you need to be involved.
Right. And I'm curious because like Afro Dominicano, the members are all men. I'm a female artist. I'll be honest, I had a manager for a while and I was a little intentional in making sure that it was a man. Just because I think sometimes there's this feeling of like women not being quite taken as seriously in the business sense. Is that something that you've experienced, or like how has your womanhood played into your, career trajectory as an entrepreneur and in, the music industry?
Of course, this is something that every woman is still fighting for in every market across the board. So absolutely I experience those things. However, I don't put too much into it because there's a reason why I'm there. There's a reason why I'm in the table having this conversation with you. And it's because I've been able to really put a lot of work into my character as a professional and everything that I've achieved. So we're here to talk about something that we are skilled at, experienced at, and then okay, so what do we want? What do we want to achieve? So I base it more on my experience and my character, and I don't put gender on it. So when I'm across someone or a client, or I'm on the other line, or on a virtual with a client or a brand, for example, to so we can distinct what we're talking about is, hey, what can I do for you, and how can I help you, and how can we help each other win?
Right. I love that. I think we forget sometimes that there's like confidence in your competence and like remembering like the yeah, I do deserve
I
to be
love that. I'm gonna use that.
nice. I'm sure I didn't make
Definitely,
it up before
that's
I got
definitely, I guess, confidence and incompetence is pretty much what carries me in the market.
right. I love that. I do, we're talking about womanhood and I want to talk a little bit about the podcast Sister Sister because
Mhm.
that is actually at the center of your podcast. You're highlighting amazing women in different industries. I'm very jealous because I saw that you sat down with Millie Quesada, who is a Dominican singer that I absolutely love. She's the queen of merengue. I wanted to know why was it so important for you to create this podcast and really like highlight powerful women?
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for that. For me, I just started understanding um, what resonates with me. So I started understanding that I've been doing so many different things, of which includes that I am the background singer for Mili Quesada for the last 20 plus years. So my career started as her backup singer in the music and entertainment world. So here I am, 20 years old, the passions of music and the passion of singing, and I got an opportunity to do a single show. And I just jumped on board. I did my homework and I came in with the best of spirits and I did my job and I did it well. So the calls kept on going, and here we are 20 plus years later, still at it. So but then as I see people like the Mili Quesadas of the world, see all these female artists and all these females behind the scenes, I'm like, yo, this is pretty dope. I was like, I think this is important to me, and I think that that's where the competence started and the confidence started. I was like, I can do this. So, but it has to start with me. I have to be I have to be the difference that I want to see. So I had to do it myself. So that's how I started. I came into the industry for women in music. It's really hard because the depiction of like the sensuality and this and all this other stuff comes with it because appearance is part of it. But you can be sensual, you could be, but not sexual per se, and you can still sell what you're doing as a female artist, right? So I was like, okay, so I'm loving this. I see so many women. I never had a handbook. I didn't know how to do this, how to navigate through this industry. And my first experience being with this amazing artist, like award-winning artist that has over what, more than 40 years in the market. It was just mind blowing. I was like, how do I keep myself in the space? How do I keep myself respected? That the people, musicians, producers, managers, promoters, that don't only see me as just a plain old musician. So I always carried myself in with so much respect and integrity. And I always used to shake hands. I used to make conversations, make those connections and engagements. And I followed up with these folks. I did. I totally followed up with these folks and build relationships. And then as I started kind of flowing with other things, other opportunities, I built those relationships. And then here we are, that those same relationships are the ones that has given me the capability to do what I'm doing right now, which is that talent consulting. Because I understand the mind of an artist. I understand what you have to do, how you have to be in order for you to be a Meli Quesada. She was my old school. I was literally like taking notes. And it's been a phenomenal experience. I'm forever indebted with them and her family. And it's been wonderful. But uh, to your point, is like women empowerment to me is so a, a beautiful thing that I want to see. And we've been doing it. We've been doing it. A lot of us out there are doing it, and we're becoming a stronger voice and a stronger presence. So as I came to this point in which I'm like, hey, we're seeing how social media is popping off. We're seeing that the world of podcasting is popping off. And then I met this amazing girl, which is Miss Yaya, another beautiful and talented singer, Grammy nominated singer. And we just kind of, through mutual friends, just linked up, and we just had this spark. We just understood each other. We had these very same energy and mannerisms, and we were like, oh my god, we love it. And we sang together. There were shows of like, hey girl, can you come with me and be my back? I was like, girl, I got you, let's go. So that relationship built over time. And then my husband, he's always very involved in everything that we do. He was like, you guys should like legit start a podcast, because the energy that you guys put out is really fun to watch. And we're both smart, very intelligent women. And then we started talking, and we're like, what are the things that are important to you? And we just started aligning. I want us, be poderosas. And I want us to be like, a voice for other women to kind of see that we're doing it, and at least giving them an outlet to like see other women and navigate through their own experience and say, hey, I want to do that. Like, I think I can do that. I've been wanting to think about it. And then when you see somebody talking about it, and we're just like literally unlayering, like, oh no, we're scared, oh no, we're this, oh no, we have doubts. But that didn't take away that, I made that audition, I made it, and then I did it, and then here I am. So it was very important for us to really highlight that message. So we just teamed up, and we're just like created it. We started using our search web browser. I was like, how do we start? What do we need? And we just started doing it. And I was like, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? And we just started calling the people that we know. And it just started growing, and people really enjoyed it, and we enjoyed doing it.
I love that. I think I've met a lot of really wonderful people in my artistic career, but I definitely relate to the feeling of like when you find another woman of color, another Latina, there's something very special about like that shared experience and
Oh
like
yeah.
kind of like I find it so much easier to like spitball like what you're going through, get advice because they really more directly connect with all the things that like are challenging in this.
Absolutely. And it gives you the sense that you're not by yourself, that you're not the only one thinking, "Oh my god, am I doing this? Nothing's happening. Should I stop?" Like, so finding someone that is going through the same thing, and that it's open to kind of show that vulnerability, to be quite honest, and saying, yeah, I got scared when that happened. I was like, girl, I did too, but you know what, this is what I did. And I was like, you know what, I am gonna do it. So you know what, boom boom boom. So that's exactly the type of takeaway we wanted from for the pack excuse me, the takeaway we wanted for the podcast.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I definitely want people to check it out because it's great energy and it's also very informational.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
but uh, they don't give me enough time. I feel like we could go on forever.
Oh my god, okay, okay.
So I do have one last question.
Okay.
Um, And, again, it's on the same theme of like powerful women, women's empowerment. We want to know, when do you specifically feel the most powerful, whether that be in your businesses, as an artist, or like in your personal life?
Ah, that is a big one. That's a big one. Um, it's hard to say because to honestly speaking, uh the realness of life in general is like we don't always feel powerful. We don't always feel great. We don't always know what's next. So just putting yourself in that situation that you accept that you're not there, and then say, okay, so what do I need to do right now to get me into the mindset to achieve it, because obviously I want to achieve it. So with that said, I do invest some time on my own, some invest time in solitude, with myself. And I really literally, Allison, I talk to myself in the sense like, okay, girl, why are you uneasy? What is the barrier in front of you? What is it for real? And it's a very tough stage because not everybody is willing to do that, because it's very scary. It can really put a pointer of on a negative note about yourself, and not everybody's comfortable with that. So I feel the most powerful when I allow myself that moment of solitude, and understand why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, and then trying to seek, how to push through it. So once I feel and I know and I push through it, that's when I feel the most powerful, because then I said, if I was able to do that, I can do it again.
That resonates so heavily because, funny enough, we're recording this closer to the top of the year, even though it will be coming out in March for Women's History Month.
Of
Um,
course.
when I was thinking of like my theme for this year, I was like, my theme, honestly, like the one word that's coming to mind is like pause, and like literally just taking that moment to like check in with myself with, what do I need, or how am I feeling right now when it comes to making a big decision. Really, that's like pausing and not like taking the easiest option or the first one that comes to mind, but what do I want, and like how can I actually make that happen, is it, for me, has been like spectacularly powerful because you could be more intentional in everything you do because you checked in with yourself. We forget ourselves so often.
Yes. Or we're just too focused and allowing or giving permissions for others to give opinions for us.
Yes, exactly. And we allow that to influence what we're going to do. No, you got to check in with you first. So,
Nobody's gonna enjoy it more than you, so therefore you gotta ask you.
exactly. Yeah. So that definitely resonated with me.
Awesome.
Um, we are out of time, but I just want to thank you again for an amazing conversation. I was like, I know this is going to be a good one from the moment we jumped.
Thank you so much. I thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciated that you guys took a notice for me, because it makes me feel that I'm doing something. And it doesn't stay within the circles of who I work with. So thank you so much for that. And I always want to always leave people with some inspiration, just know that you have it in you, and that you can do it if you want to do it. And just don't be afraid to check in with yourself, because I think that once you understand who yourself, like who you are, and with flaws and all, that is the point that just the skies just open, because then you
Mhm.
start understanding who you want to be in this life, what's your contribution, how are you going to coexist in the world, and how are you going to coexist it with others directly.
And why you're uniquely the person for these opportunities to do this mission, whatever that that may be for you.
And at the end of the
So
day, that's what matters. That's what matters, that you know that you are making a contribution and that you love it and that just resonates with people because like, "Oh my gosh, she's da da da." It's simple stuff, guys. It's simple stuff. Just follow through what you wanna do and just give it good attitude. But always know that this is what you want to do. If you don't wanna do it, then understand why you don't wanna do it. And then navigate to what it is that you wanna do and just go for it.
yes, love that. This has been amazing. Before we hop off, if you're coming to us through Zeitlin, make sure that you follow the Power Street Theater Instagram. You can also check the website for any programming that we have coming up, which is like across all the board. But if you're coming through Power Street, then you need to make sure you go follow Zeitlin. You can follow her on Instagram at Zeitlin Perez. All the info is there about all the different, whether it be business wise, if you need help with your content creation, branding, partnerships, if you want to check out her music, if you want to, there's so many links in there. Just go and it's pick your adventure with Zeitlin. But thank you so much. It has been
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
I
And
appreciate it, and happy Women's Month.
yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. This has been Power Talks.